Coming up next on Win News, tributes for a paraglider killed at Bald Hill. Pill testing at a music festival hailed a success, and gassing up Port Kembla's economy.
Across the Illawarra, South Coast and Southern Highlands, this is Win News.
Tonight, a gas import facility at Port Kembla gets government approval. Tributes for a paraglider pilot killed in a crash at Stanmore Tops. And a rental crisis in the region for those on low incomes. Good evening, I'm Geoff Phillips. Also coming up tonight, the region's Orthodox communities celebrate Easter the traditional way. Approval has been given for a $250 million gas import terminal at Port Kembla, with the proponents foreshadowing a massive gas-fired power station nearby in the near future. The import facility will create hundreds of jobs during its construction and secure 70% of the state's gas requirements for years to come.
It's a project set to revolutionise the gas industry in the state, with a floating storage and regasification unit to be based in Port Kembla.
That has all the equipment on it that you need to turn liquefied natural gas back into the stuff you get out of the pipelines.
Katie Gallagher, Win News.
The woman charged over an horrific crash on the Hume motorway at Wilton that claimed the lives of a mother and son has pleaded guilty to dangerous driving. In March 2017, Athena Vibert allegedly veered across the median strip on the Hume highway, crashing into the Bullock family. Julie Bullock and her 7-year-old son Hudson were killed, and her daughter Sienna was seriously injured. Miss Vibert had previously maintained her innocence, but today entered 3 guilty pleas at Parramatta District Court. The Illawarra's paragliding fraternity is coming together tonight as it continues to come to terms with the loss of one of its own. 54-year-old Des Hamilton is believed to have fallen to his death after crashing into the cliff face at Bald Hill on Saturday.
A nice guy who loved to fly. That's how Des Hamilton will be remembered by his paragliding peers as they struggle to come to terms with his death.
Our flying community is an extended family, really.
Samara Gardner, Win News.
A sign on a bus claiming the Coalition will increase the age pension today became the focus of election campaigning in Gilmore, with claims by Labor the sign is dishonest. In Nowra today, Shadow Health Minister Catherine King also unveiled a multi-million-dollar plan to address mental health on the South Coast. Meanwhile, pre-poll voting is open, with some experts suggesting up to 30% of electors could cast their votes before polling day.
With the finish line in sight, now only the dash to the booths remains. Wading through the barrage of flyers and corflutes, first voters taking everything into consideration. Jared Constable, Win News.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Opposition Leader Bill Shorten will go head-to-head in Perth tonight for the first leaders' debate of the 2019 election campaign. You'll see it at 11 o'clock tonight on Sky News on Win. Lights will be installed in trees in Port Kembla's main street if Labor is elected to government next month. Today, member for Cunningham, Sharon Bird, pledged $135,000 to install LED fairy lights in 20 trees along Wentworth Street.
It both, I think, increases the attractiveness of the street, but also it's a message about this is a place where lovely things are happening.
It's hoped the investment will also create a safer environment for Port Kembla residents. A 23-year-old man had to be rescued after coming off his motorcycle in bushland at Cordo Heights and falling over a steep drop. SES volunteers, police rescue and ambulance special operations were called last night. The terrain posed challenges to reach the man and then carry him to safety. He was taken to Wollongong Hospital for treatment of shock, along with possible pelvis, rib and hip injuries. Coming up next on Win News, the search for a man missing for almost a week. And 70 years on, the Wollongong Bird Show still drawing the crowds. Police in the Illawarra are appealing for help to find a 21-year-old man missing since last Tuesday. Gary Pearce was last seen in North Wollongong as believed to be in the Illawarra. His parents have told reporters they fear he may have been kidnapped. Anyone with information should ring Crime Stoppers. A campaign to encourage women to ask where their clothes are made received an unusual boost at Thirroul, with ActionAid holding its first Wollongong region clothes swap for women's rights. There were dresses, skirts, shirts and other items available.
It's 100% free. It's just bring along some clothes, swap them for other clothes and learn about women's rights and trade in the process.
After starting out from humble beginnings in the 1940s, Wollongong's annual bird show has developed into the biggest display of its type in New South Wales. More than 900 birds were entered for display at the 70th annual event.
The Wollongong Bird Show is about more than just birds in cages.
I hand-raise birds like this, and so that they're humanised, you might say.
George Wood, Win News.
Time of sport now with Amy. Wollongong bids farewell to the Junior State Cup finals.
That is right, Geoff. The touch footy junior representative events wrapped up. More on that next. Also, the Wolves remain undefeated in the NPL and the Cougars open their 2019 campaign with a win. In sport, Illawarra Rugby League has kicked off for another season. The Corrimal Cougars fighting their way to an opening round win after defeating Berkeley 28 points to 12.
After a winless season last year, the Corrimal Cougars were determined to start 2019 on a winning note, but it was Berkeley who struck first. In other matches, Helensburgh defeated Dapto while Collegians went down to Thirroul. In Group 7 action, the Shellharbour City Sharks were too strong for Albion Park Oak Flats, while Jamboree came out on top against Gerringong. In Group 6, Mossvale scored a 48-point victory over Oakdale, while Picton went down to Narellan. And the Merimbula-Pambula Bulldogs remain on top of the Group 16 ladder after defeating the Narooma Devils. Christina Brentoska, Win News.
The Illawarra Stingrays have suffered their second loss in a row, going down to Blacktown 2-1. Meanwhile, the Wollongong Wolves remain on top of the NPL men's ladder despite a 2-2 draw with the Sutherland Sharks. The Wolves had to come from behind twice to remain unbeaten.
Now with a shot, goes again for that post, and it goes, yes it is, off the post.
In the State League, the South Coast Flame drew 2-2 with Prospect United. Meanwhile, Tarrawanna remains on top of the Illawarra Premier League ladder after a 2-0 win over Wollongong United. Port Kembla defeated Fernhill while Cringilla Lions went down to Bulli. The New South Wales Junior State Cup has wrapped up in Wollongong with the final day of competition bringing out the best from across the state. The Manly Sea Eagles were crowned club champions, fielding a team in every grand final age group bar one.
2 days of fast-paced representative action has drawn to a close with the winners crowned at the Junior State Cup.
That is tonight's sport, Geoff.
Amy, thank you for that. Tanya is along with the weather and a rather cool start for most places.
It certainly was, Geoff, but a touch of sun managed to break through to warm things up throughout the day. I'll have the forecast for the week ahead next. Hello again. If you felt the chill this morning, it's because temperatures slipped below average overnight. Oscar captured the morning sun streaming through that cloud cover over Belmore Basin in Wollongong. If you've taken a weather photo you'd like to see up on screen, you can email it through to weather@wintv.com.au. Let's have a look at the details from today. Goulburn had an icy start with a low of -1. That is around 6 degrees cooler than average for its minimum for this time of year. Winds were fairly light along the coast today, gusting to 20 kilometres an hour at Bulli, Ulladulla and Bateman's Bay. And taking a look at those temperatures further south, a top of 19 degrees for Narooma. For the low at Bega, it saw a top of 21 and 20 was the high for Merimbula and Eden. On the satellite, a high pressure system is currently drifting across southeastern Australia. We'll be out over the Tasman Sea by tomorrow. On the synoptic, a low pressure trough is expected to approach the western border of New South Wales later tomorrow, followed by a cold front associated with a deepening low west of Bass Strait. A mostly sunny day expected on the waters tomorrow, but there is a strong wind warning in place right down the coast. Taking a look at the forecast for the Illawarra and Southern Highlands, mostly sunny tomorrow, but there is some early morning fog expected in the north as well as areas of smoke haze. Bulli starting on 15, expecting a top of 23, 25 the forecast high at Picton and 23 for Ulladulla. Some early morning morning fog for the south coast as well, then sunshine to follow, a top of 25 degrees for Bateman's Bay and Maruya Heads. For Wollongong, mostly sunny tomorrow, starting the day on 15 degrees, expecting a top of 23 with sunrise at 6:30 in the morning. And taking a look at the days ahead, partly cloudy in the north on Wednesday with a slight chance of a shower about higher ground and overcast on the south coast. Thursday will be partly cloudy with a slight chance of a late shower. There's also the chance of an evening storm near the border, and overcast on Friday with a high chance of rain and possible storm. Winds breezy at times, so we'll definitely need that brolly by the end of the week, Geoff.
A little rain will be welcome, Tan. Thank you. That is Wind News for this Monday night. I'm Geoff Phillips. Thanks for your company. Good night.
This has been a Wind News presentation. Wind News, Regional Australia's #1 news source.